Hello, and welcome to this Gathering of Open. I'm Pastor Jonathan Perry. It's great to be with you today. We're grateful for this time in which we get to gather in this season. It means so much to us right now to be able to connect in community with you in this way and to welcome. Today, amidst everything, we come together to seek God, to seek to follow God in our world in this time, with hearts moved in love for our neighbor, for the oppressed, for the vulnerable to injustice right now and the vulnerable in our world. Our hearts are moved for our world, for our communities, for each other. And so we come seeking renewal and seeking hope, seeking transformation, seeking to listen and to learn together from each other and from the heart of God, seeking to be empowered in love together, to be changed, to be part of truly changing our world in our time, and joining in the loving work of the God of justice and joy and peace. So welcome here, and thank you for being in this work together. Today, wherever you are welcome. You are welcome here, and you are welcome everywhere. So to center our hearts around that, we've got some friends who are going to lead us in our liturgy this morning. The words are simple, but they are profound. That wherever you are, wherever you find yourself this day, in the heart of God, the love of this community, all are welcome here. Friends, let's lift this up together.
We come together seeking God, trusting that God is seeking us with open arms. All are welcome here.
No matter our doubts or questions, where we come from or who we love, even in the chaotic seasons of life, we are loved by God. All are welcome here.
We believe that everyone is a child of God, every age, race, gender, identity, and creed.
All are beautifully and colorfully made and of sacred worth.
All are welcome here.
We affirm that God is a good God who lifts the oppressed, loves the vulnerable, and is open to all. So we choose to have open hearts, open minds, open arms, and open doors to God and to each other. All are welcome here.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to Open Worship. We are so glad that you are gathered with us this morning. At this time, we just want to invite you to greet each other in the comments and let each other know that all are welcome here. And also, if you could, just pop on over to opendtx.com/sign in and let us know that you're gathered with us this morning. Even if you've done it before, it's just helpful for us to get a fuller picture of who all is gathered with us today. And at this time, we're gonna sing a little and greet each other in the comments.
We are open, pour your love on us. We are open, you give breath to us. So give it again, we are open. We are open to you, speak a word to us. We are open, pour your love on us. We are open, you give breath to us. So give it again, we are open. We are open to speak a word to us. We are open, pour your love on us. We are open, you give breath to us. So give it again, we are open. We are open to speak a word to us. We are open, pour your love on us. We are open, you give breath to us. So give it again, we are open. We are open to God is here. Let's be quiet for a moment and listen.
Hey guys, my name is Crystal, and with me today I have my friends Clay and Brandon and Kelly and Dave, and we are your worship leaders this morning. We just want you to know that whoever you are, whatever your story or identity is, God's love is here for you, and so are we. And so if you would, let's just continue to worship together this morning.
You
Friends, that prayer that we just prayed together, Lord, would you hear our cry? Lord, will you heal our land so that every eye would see and heart would know the one who gives us hope, and that when God's kingdom comes, we'll all be welcomed in and rise together in God's love. Friends, that prayer is so beautiful, but I want you to know that we are the answer to that prayer. That when we are crying out to God to heal our land, it is our collective action that is going to allow that prayer to be realized in our world today. And in this next song we're about to see, we are inviting the Holy Spirit into us to move us into action. We are welcoming God with intention to move in us to do this work. And so I invite you to sing along if you're comfortable, or if you would just take a moment to pause and to close your eyes and to listen, and let us be stirred into action, into justice work for a truly healed world. Let it be.
There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. In your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, Lord. There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Let us become more aware of your presence. Let us experience the glory of your goodness. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord.
Hi friends, thank you for joining with us. We're so grateful for you. We send love and well wishes your way. If we could send some hugs and high fives and snacks your way, we would do that also, because love and well wishes and hugs and snacks, we need those things right now on our journey, it seems. It is a journey. As our heart breaks as we see the cases turn upward, the importance of continuing on this journey, to continue to gather together in this way, becomes even more clear. We miss you all, but we are so grateful for the opportunity to gather here and through other venues throughout the week, and to hug virtually in this journey together. We're grateful to be in this work of justice and against racism with you, the work that continues in our community and in ourselves. As we do that, we remember that it's been a long road and it will continue to be. As Dr. King says, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And so we need to keep the energy and the intention to pull down on that curve, to keep doing it in our community, in our homes, in our families, and in our friend circles, to keep going on this journey. Keep going. Because this week we also saw the transformation and the victory that steadfast, keeping on going journey work can bring. This week we celebrate along with Willie Hudspeth, who for 21 years has been working to bring down the Confederate statue on the Denton County Courthouse lawn. A statue that was installed in 1918 at the height of the KKK's resurgence in our area, 3 years before the destruction of the Quakertown Black community here in Denton. This statue went up as an arch over the main entrance to our courthouse, so that every time you entered our seat of government, you walked under its story and its shadow. And it seemed like that would be the story of the arch forever. But Mr. Willie Hudspeth reached up to the moral arc and pulled down the justice and righteousness that can be and will be and must be from the future into our present. For 21 years, Mr. Hudspeth went out on Sunday evenings to the courthouse lawn to help us see that this statue's story must not be our story. For 21 years, 1,100 weeks, he showed up faithfully and steadfastly, oftentimes by himself, and called on us to be better. 1,100 weeks. And just for scale, we've been worshiping online together for 13 weeks. 1,100 weeks. Thank you, Mr. Hudspeth. Thank you for keeping on going. The arc of the moral universe is long, but you showed up and steadfastly pulled our arc toward justice. Thank you. So in his footsteps, let's keep going. Let's keep growing, and let's keep going. There's a lot of work going on in our lives right now. So the question often is, how do we keep on this journey? Whatever your work is right now, whether it's work for racial justice, maybe it's work focused at the border or during Pride Month, work for inclusivity and equality, or the work of physically distancing and taking precautions to ensure each other's safety. Maybe it's the steadfast work of taking care of families and kids and ourselves, or the tireless work being done by educators, by business owners, nonprofit workers, caregivers, essential workers, all those on the front lines right now, or the work being done by those safely and faithfully showing up on the streets to continue calling us to be better in the legacy of Mr. Hudspeth. How do we keep going? Whatever our work is, keep growing and keep showing up in this time. One of Jesus' parables, he gives us some insights onto how to keep growing, using the metaphor of seeds and soil. Jesus' parables are these metaphorical stories from the midst of our real life together that can help us notice and imagine the work of God's love and life that's taking root all around us. And this parable we're talking about today is often called the parable of the sower, or the parable of the 4 kinds of soil. And perhaps it can give us some insight on keeping growing in this season and in every season. So we find the story in a book that we call Matthew, chapter 13. It goes like this. So one day Jesus was teaching and a lot of folks were gathered around him. And so Jesus stepped back and got on a boat to teach. I'm not sure if Lonely Island and T-Pain were there, but the disciples were there. And Jesus began to talk to the crowd. This is what he said. He told them many things in parables, saying, "Listen, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seeds fell on the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Other seeds fell on rocky ground where they did not have much soil. They sprang up quickly, since they had no depth of soil, but when the sun rose, they were scorched. And since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Still, other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Let anyone with ears listen," which is this evocative but simple story. In fact, my son Hudson went on a Lego Bible story kick a few weeks ago and made a mini model of this story that I want to share with you. There's a sower and there's weeds and there's rocks and hungry bird and fertile soil waiting to grow some seeds. I'll see if I can get Hudson to do this for us every week, but it caught his attention because this parable of the sower is such an evocative story. But why in this moment would Jesus choose to tell this story to all those gathered? I think perhaps Jesus did this because this is a story for all of us. No matter where we are in life, no matter where we are in our journeys, there are seeds being sown, opportunities around us to grow and to keep growing, to develop, to listen, to learn, to be part of bringing life in ourselves and in our world, in every circumstance, in every season. So the question is, are we going to let those seed moments sink in and go down deep? Are we going to cultivate them to grow? And it's that process of continuing to grow, to water and weed, to turn over the soil in our lives and let the seeds grow. That's how we find life for the long haul, how we keep growing and keep going and keep showing up in every season. And the good news for us, especially now, is that it might be less about what's on our to-do list and a little more about having the right things there. So to learn more, let's take a little closer look at Jesus' metaphor. Jesus points to 4 different kinds of soil: the path, the rocks, the weeds, and the fertile soil. So one thing that's important to mention, when I was younger and I heard this metaphor, I used to hear it in a personal, kind of holistic way. Like, is my soil rocky or is my soil ready for growth? There was one or the other, it was in or out. But I've come to see now that I've got all of these types of soil in my life. Places where I'm growing and places where it's rocky. Places where it's pressed down and places that are ready and open. We're all a mix. And so wherever we are, it's just about taking the next step on our journey of transformation. of being ready for more growth than we were yesterday. As the poet and prophet Maya Angelou says, when you know better, do better. And that's the simple step. It's those seeds that God is sowing in our life, through life, and others, and circumstances, and education that help us on that journey of knowing and doing better. And so this is a message of hope as much as it is a message of how to. The first soil that Jesus mentions is this path that's hard packed, where the seeds just bounce off and can't sink in. One thing to notice here is that the soil that is good and the soil of the path are the same soil. It's just that one is packed down and pressed in so hard that the seeds of growth literally can't get in. And honestly, I think that's where I am a lot of the time. Life is so packed in and packed full that there's little time to let something new in and even begin to grow. Right? We're all there sometimes. And so what can we do? Well, unpack a little. Whatever that means for you. Slow down, perhaps, say no, let go. Unpack and break loose that hard-packed soil so that something can get in. Of course, there are times when that's impossible. There are sprint seasons, certainly, when the work is vitally important. Sometimes I can overestimate how necessary those sprints are, but in those busy seasons, it can be even more essential to find time to slow down and open up. This is, for me, maybe in those seasons, I don't listen to a podcast in every moment of quiet. I let the dishes be done or the car ride to the store happen in quiet. Maybe in those moments when I can sit down, I close Netflix for just a few minutes each evening, just to be open to myself and to others, and to the seeds that are being planted, and to let them grow for a little while. Especially when life is so packed, we need to unpack where we can and loosen the soil a little so that life can get in. The second soil is the rocky soil, where the seed grows, but it can't go deep, and so it withers in the sun, and I've been there too. Right now, whether from quarantine or from the prophets in the streets, we're learning a lot about ourselves. We're digging down deep into our patterns and our history. And are the seeds that are being planted, am I letting them go down deep, or are there some old rocks in the way that are preventing that from happening? Some old patterns or habits or history that's keeping growth from really taking hold. This past spring, we put a new flower bed in our front yard, and I think the people before us must have planted a rock garden in there. As we were preparing the soil, our shovels over and over again would just go clink, 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 hitting rocks over and over again. And there's this moment in the midst of digging when you ask, should I just leave it and go dig somewhere else? But when you put in the work, and you get down in the dirt, you dig out the stones, for a moment, maybe there's a hole left behind, but that fills in with open, new, ready soil for growing. And plus, when you do that, your kids feel like they're fossil hunters digging rocks out of the ground. Right now, a group from Open is reading a book called Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Saad, and invites us into this spiritual practice of daily examine, to look at our histories and hang-ups, particularly around race and whiteness. And there are some stones being uncovered. But in doing the work to uncover them and dig them out, it's letting growth happen on the other side. And what's filling in those gaps is new and ready soil. And maybe even for me, our kids will experience us fossil hunting, and we can become a good ancestor for those who come behind us. The third soil that Jesus mentions is the soil that's surrounded by thorns and weeds that choke out the growth. And there are thorns that drain life, aren't there? In the age-old wisdom of cross-stitch, never read the comments. But you can find those life-draining things, not just in the comment section, but in our own lives as well. Look for those things. Pull them out as you can. Like a garden, that's not just one-time work, it's ongoing. And sometimes to do the work, you have to venture into the weeds, right? But But be careful when you do that you just don't let them take root in your soil. In this hard world, don't let it harden you. Pursue realism, but not cynicism. We can do hard things, but in that doing, don't let it make our hearts hard. Choose love, Jesus said, especially when it is difficult. And remember that our hope is not in us alone. Our hope is in the God at work in us and through us all, and just that little bit of divinity makes all the difference. But the last soil, that good soil, is where Jesus invites us to rest. And as he describes that soil to us and the growth that he gives, he says, "Let those who have ears listen." And I think that it's in that listening that is so much the secret at the heart of the good soil. May we listen with openness and readiness and newness. Because listening creates the kind of soil in our life where growth can happen. When we listen, we open ourselves to all the seeds that are being planted right now. They'll be planted this afternoon and this evening and tomorrow and every moment of our journey. When we listen, we open ourselves to the seeds planted in us by the wisdom of others, the wonder of creation, the insight of circumstances. Seeds planted by our own inner voice and that divine voice that is even deeper and more inward. When we stop and open to listen, we let our soil be a place where those seeds can land and grow and spring up. Just as Jesus says, 30, 60, 100-fold, with growth abundant and unexpected. We can listen when we're not too packed tight, when we've worked to uncover the stones beneath the surface, when we're staying on top of the weeds, and we let our soil turn over and open up and let those seeds of the sower settle down, deep growth happens, often beyond our wildest expectations. I hear so often from people who've been growing, "I never thought I would be where I am today, with the perspective I have today, the understanding I have today, with the readiness to work for joy and justice and peace like I am today. I never expected, but that's the kind of growth God gives, abundant, transformative, flourishing growth. Let those who have ears listen." The great theologian Henri Nouwen wrote a little book called Listening as Spiritual Hospitality. And I just love the thought of that. We welcome each other with hospitality. All the seeds of life that we bear in each moment, we welcome when we listen. He quotes Rachel Naomi Remen, who writes this: "Listening is the oldest and perhaps the most powerful tool of healing. It's often through the quality of our listening, not the wisdom of our words, that we are able to effect the most profound changes in the people around us. When we listen, we offer sanctuary for the wandering parts within the other person, that which has been denied, unloved, devalued by themselves and others, that which is hidden. When you listen generously to people, they can hear the truth in themselves, often for the first time. When you listen generously, your soul is a life-giving place of hospitality, and your soil is a place of growth, not just for yourself, but for all you meet when we listen to each other. And it's the same when we listen to ourselves, when we slow down, dig deep, and listen to ourselves and God speaking in us. So to rephrase Rachel Naomi Remen, when we listen to ourselves, we also offer sanctuary for the wandering parts within us. When you listen generously to yourself, you can hear the truth within you, often for the first time. So may we clear out some space this week to listen. to others, to ourselves, to the God who loves us and embraces us, so that the seeds being sown in every moment of this journey might go down deep, find room to grow, that on this journey of justice, kindness, and love, we might have the life abundant to keep growing and keep going and keep showing up in the way of Willie, in the way of Christ, in the way that God is empowering us to do. May our soil be open. And in the words of Jesus, let us who have heard listen. Amen, friends. Amen. As we continue to worship, this song invites us to slow down and invites us to listen. May it begin here today for us.
Slow me down, oh Lord, slow me down. Help my heart to hear your sound. Speak into my life, Lord, speak now. Slow me down, oh Lord, slow me down. Clear my mind, oh Lord, clear my mind. Bring me peace that I cannot find. Take my worry thoughts, break my pride. Clear my mind, oh Lord, clear my mind. Wake my soul, Lord, wake my soul. Let me love you, I know. In this life of mine, speak your tongue. Wake my soul, Lord, wake my soul. Slow me down, slow me down. Help my heart to hear your sound. Speak into my life, Lord, speak now. Slow me down, oh Lord, slow me down. Slow me down, oh Lord, slow me down. Slow me down, oh Lord, slow me
May we slow down, open up, and listen this week to each other, to ourselves, and to the God who is speaking through it all, that the seeds of life might grow us and change us and sustain us for this journey. Amen. Thank you, band, and thank you to you for joining with us in this special time. We're so glad that you're here with us, being community together in a time when meeting online is such an important way of caring for our community and love and for each other. Thank you. And thank you to those of you who are caring for the community in other ways as healthcare professionals, essential workers, nonprofit workers, grocery and food workers, small business owners who are caring and keeping us going and serving so selflessly. Thank you. And to all who love them, thank you as well. We are so grateful for you. So this week, a couple of celebrations from the Open team. You may have heard last week, Hannah Phillips, our Open intern this past year, is now the assistant youth director for our larger church, and we are so excited for all of us. Yay, Hannah. We're so glad to have you on the team in an even bigger way. Another celebration is that our musical director, Dave Huff, this week passed his dissertation defense in music theory and is now Dr. Dave Huff. We're so proud of you, friend. And so next week, if Dave's video has a tweed jacket with elbow pads on, you'll know exactly why that is. Congrats, friend. Today, our children's ministry is giving out supplies for their summer activities for the next 2 weeks. There's a bag full of activities on the fruits of the Spirit, like love, joy, peace, patience, that families can work through together over the next 2 weeks this summer. And today, Sunday, from 12 to 2, they'll be in the parking lot of the church safely handing out supplies for those activities. There'll be a Kona ice truck there making treats. And so even if you don't have kiddos, you're welcome to go grab a chili treat. Mask up and come on by the parking lot near Fuzzy's and pick up supplies for the activity, grab a chili treat. Also this week, as we continue to seek to listen and to work for the beloved community by standing up against racism and for the lives of our siblings of color in our church and community and beyond, we've put together a few resources at opendtx.com/anti-racism, ways that you can listen and take action in this time. Books you can read, things you can reflect on and learn from, and ultimately let that reflection and that listening lead you into action. Visit opendtx.com/anti-racism. Another way to support this community, and an important one, is by giving to support the community and the mission here. You can go to opendtx.com/give and find a way there that you can contribute to this place as we seek to be a community together for each other and for our community. Your support helps make that possible. Thank you so much for your continued generosity that enables this community to continue strong. 2 more opportunities to be together with each other and for each other in this time. We've collected opportunities to serve at opendtx.com/serve. You can serve in many ways. There are calls to be made, masks to be sewn, sidewalk chalk to be chalked. Just let us know what you might be interested in, and we'll connect you in the coming days with opportunities, organizations, and our communities, ways that you can serve and help. And so thank you so much for helping this be a loving, hoping faith community for our community together. If you haven't had a chance today, also let us know you're here at opendtx.com/sign-in. No matter what day you're watching, it helps us get a good picture of our community. And even if you've done that in previous weeks, it helps us each time we gather and each time that you watch this with us to know. And so thank you so much for signing in and doing that. In all the ways that we're in this together, just know we are so grateful for you. We're graced by you and inspired by you in the way you are seeking God and each other right now, working for justice and joy and peace in our world. We're in this together, and we're so grateful to be in this with you. So thank you. Thank you to the God who is with us and between us all, inviting us to open up and listen. So as we go into the world or into other rooms in our houses, take this benediction with you. May we be people ready to listen, to hear, to change, making space, clearing the soil, caring for the seeds that are planted in our lives that we might keep growing and keep going and keep showing up for each other and for ourselves and for our God in this season. In the way of the God who welcomes us with hospitality, may we welcome each other and ourselves with love this week. bearing witness to the love of God, that those we meet will find in us a generous friend, with hospitality of listening and good open soil, a reflection of God's all-welcoming, all-transforming love. So go in grace, go in peace, and go in love, friends. Amen.
Slow down, take time, breathe in, you say you'll be in what's to come. The thoughts in your mind, always higher than mine, you'll be in all to come. Take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. God's in the waiting. God's in the waiting. Hold on to my hope as the future unfolds. God's never failing. God's never failing. Sing praise, my soul. Find strength in joy. Let your love lead me on. I won't forget your great faithfulness. Finish all you've begun. So take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. God's in the waiting. God's in the waiting. Hold on to my hope as the future unfolds. God's never failing. God's never failing. Take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. God's in the waiting. God's in the waiting. Hold on to my hope as the future unfolds. God's never failing. God's never failing. And you who holds the stars, in the wind.